Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Unfiltered Perspectives. I'm Tara, and I'm here with my wonderful co hosts.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Leslie.
Today, Kimberly is going to be introducing our topic.
Okay, so for the month of February, I will take the lead with introducing our topics. Happy February. We are into the new year. Yesterday was Groundhog Day. And so I thought we'd spend some time thinking about what we would relive if we could and why. So we know by now that Puxatawny Phil did not see his shadow. That means 6 more weeks of winter for us. But I am more interested in the Groundhog Day movie aspect of things, the time loop that we associate with Groundhog Day. So let me ask you, have you seen the movie Groundhog Day?
I don't believe I have. I'm going to go with no because I don't recall. Yeah, I'm going to go with no. Now I'm going to have to see it now because you brought it up, but I don't believe I've seen it.
I have, yes, but a long, long time ago. But I know the concept.
So I know the concept so much so that I assumed that I had seen it, but when I tried to think of, well, what does actually happen in that movie, I realized I have not. But the gist of it is the hero is probably a jerk, has some lessons to learn, and is forced to repeat the day over and over again until he gets it right. Which brought the question for me, if you got to repeat a day over and over again, what would it be and why?
Leslie, why don't we start with you?
How did I know you were coming for me? Because I don't have an answer. I don't know that there's a day that I would want to relive. Honestly, when I looked at what the topic was going to be, I had to think long and hard. And unfortunately, I still can't come up with anything, at least not yet. Maybe by my midstream of this this podcast, maybe I'll come up with something. But right now, I have nothing.
I actually have a few, sad to say, but I actually have a few days or moments, something that I would like to relive. And surprisingly enough, I think that it's weird that I would not want to relive my happiest days, like my wedding or the birth of my son. And I questioned myself, well, why is that? But then as I thought about it, I realized it's probably because the happiest days of my life weren't necessarily the easiest days. Like big times like my wedding or, childbirth or any like significant, probably like heavily emotional milestone or achievement or whatever, they came with mixed emotions. And sometimes there was like joy, obviously, and excitement. But also, I'm thinking about back to my wedding day. It was so stressful. And
Was
then,
it?
yes. And
Was
then,
it?
or even, yes, yes, and yes. And just because like of the whole like making sure everything was timed right. And I remember I had gotten my hair done the day before and it just was not right. And so I had to get really early and go down the street to my friend Michelle's house, and her daughter actually redid my hair for me because I was so dissatisfied with what the hairdresser had done. But and then another happy day was, when Matthew was born. And again, wonderful day, but labor pains, no thank you. Don't want to do that again. So it comes with a mixed bag. And I think that what part of what makes those happy days or what beautiful days is that they were real, but they did have the imperfections. And I don't want to relive those imperfections. But also, I think for like days like that, I don't necessarily need a redo, a do over because just they're already meaningful just because of what they are. And I wouldn't want to like change anything that made it like super special or magical or whatever.
Right.
Um, and I was gonna say, well, maybe like even like the stressful parts or the painful parts, but I wouldn't want to redo that, but nothing I could do about it.
Hmm.
And nothing, I mean, there's nothing within my control that could have changed that anyway. But yeah, I'm just grateful for that they happened exactly as they did, I guess. And I know I'm talking a long time, I'm sorry, but there are, and before I get into these, there are two other like things that I would like to relive. I'm gonna give other people a chance to talk first.
I mean,
No, I mean, I was going to say you have the floor, so I mean, go ahead.
Okay, when you're going to say something?
well, so your best days, your wedding day, the birth of your son, are days that had joy and pain. I was going to go into a song when you said it, joy and pain, sunshine and rain. But because of the mixedness, not something that you want or need to relive again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are things that you would relive again.
Yes. And these are things I would want to do for their different reasons. And I actually have them ranked. So I think I'm going to go with the main one first. Okay. So the first one that I would want to redo, that I would want to relive is when Kim, well, I'm sure you do remember, we went on our spring break that year to Mexico.
Girl, to Mexico.
And it was not my best moment. Something occurred, and I was so angry and frustrated and upset that I allowed my frustration to overwhelm me. And I yelled at you at the airport. I don't even know if you remember that. I remember I yelled at you at the airport, and I just always felt really bad about that because it was mean and it was hurtful and it was embarrassing to you. And I have always regretted it since it happened.
Oh.
I've always regretted that.
Kim,
I
you
know you.
remember?
So I remember that trip. So let me tell I remember that trip. We had very little money. I don't know why. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I do know why we ended up going to Mexico, right? Because Daddy worked for the airline and we got these cheap tickets or standby tickets. I also remember that I lost, aka gave away. I left our money in a place where it was interpreted as a tip. So, and so I lost like all of our money on the first day. Me thinking I was like putting it away in a safe place. My lack of experience with hotels. So now we're even more bare boned than we ordinarily would have been, which meant walking from the hotel back to the airport. Meanwhile, we've got like our luggage and also
These heavy souvenirs. Oh my gosh.
we
Remember
got
that like
luggage.
marble chest set I got for Daddy? It was so
Yes.
heavy. Why
But
did
the thing that I also remember, so luggage, souvenirs, and so we were going to, and we're in a warm place, but we're heading back home in March. So we also have our like heavy winter coat that is all like walking it back to the airport. So I remember that trip being stressful. I remember that trip back to the airport feeling especially uncomfortable. I like how you imagine that yell yelling at me at the airport was so out of character for you or our relationship that it would be seared in my memory.
Well, it was out of character for me to yell at you like that in front of a lot of people. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe you don't think so, but I do. And I like how you're laughing about it now and making light of something that's been bothering me for like a long time. But okay.
I didn't realize it
And I
was something that had bothered you for many years. It really is not something that has bothered me for many years.
well,
You
okay,
can release
that's
yourself
great.
from that.
Well, now that okay, I will. But I don't remember as that happened on the first day. I feel like it happened towards the end, which is why we didn't have enough sense not, I mean, we didn't think to not buy heavy stuff because we'd have to lug it to the airport. Because I remember because there were some other like side trips that we made and we'd taken like a cab. I know we walk a lot of places, but there were places that we had gone where we actually were able to take transportation. So I feel like it happened like towards the end.
Maybe it was the transportation money that I put aside so that we could take I don't know.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know.
looking back,
I do remember that particular misstep as a thing that, ugh, yeah, I wish I could do that over again.
yeah. But, yeah. I remember you had left it like under the pillow on the
Mhm.
bed, and housekeeping thought it was a tip. I remember at first that we thought that they stole our money. They stole our money. But no, it was just us not thinking right.
Sophisticated world travelers we were. But the other thing about that trip is, I think this was the same trip. I had tickets to a Prince concert, and there was bad weather returning home, which meant that I wasn't able to get back to DC in time to take advantage of those tickets. And so I never saw Prince in concert.
Aw, that's sad.
It is sad.
I know, because I know how much you loved Prince or loved Prince, but you loved Prince back then. But yeah, that was we were coming back into like a huge storm. But and so that also added to the level of frustration because there's like we're riding doing standby anyway, and there's all these delays and stuff, and just like, but whatever. So that was my first one, and then in thinking about it, the second thing that I would want to relive would be, and this is all right, the last day, and it's not a particular event that I can think of, but I would want to relive the last days that I spent with each of my grandparents. And not because like those last days are particularly happy or that I even remember anything about them. And I think that's why I would want to relive those days, because if I knew that it would be my last day with them, I
Mm,
would want to commit the conversations and the moments to memory.
wow, that's
So
something. Yeah.
I would want to redo that.
Wow.
And
That's
it,
that's yeah.
and that's me. How about you guys?
That's something to think about. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah. I mean, I do think along those lines. So when I think about reliving things that I regret or things that I wish I could do over, usually what I take from it. So I know this is my topic and I'm being a dud on this topic because I don't, there, there are plenty of things that I regret, plenty of things that I wish I could do over. And I try not to spend a lot of time in that space and try to think about, well, what can you do moving forward based on that? So I think of all of our grandparents and wish that I had spent more time with them at the end. And for two of the three, for both of our grandmothers, it wasn't a surprise that it was towards the end, right? And I was very busy with work, right? I know I didn't spend as much time as I could because work felt and seemed so important to me that I couldn't get away. And so I wish that I had made different choices then. And because I wish that I had made different choices then, I try to make better choices now, right?
Mm,
Around
yeah.
putting relationships and time over work. I don't do as good a job as that as I still wish I did.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't think of any particular moment or day or event that I would want to relive. But, hearing you say what you said, Tara, if I had those moments, if I could get those moments back, definitely would spend them a little differently
Mm-hmm.
and say the things that you wish you could say now.
Mm-hmm.
Spend the time that you wish you had spent then, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
With my parents, with friends, with, just family, friends, just in general. So, I mean, there's so many people who are not here now that you wish you could get a minute back. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to clarify too, like when I say the last day, I don't actually mean like the last day, because my last time seeing at least both of my grandmothers, they were in the hospital, and
Right.
I'm hoping they heard me, but they weren't interacting. I mean, days when we got to interact.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But
How about
mm,
something,
Or even
something upbeat?
if I think about the Mexico trip, the Mexico trip example, can't go back and undo some of that. But I will say I am a much better traveler now
you think?
than I was then. I just remember our bags were unsuitable for carry on. I just am a much better traveler, right? And so So I can't go back and redo it, and I've absolutely learned some lessons
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
um, from that experience.
Mhm. That was, like, the first time we'd flown anywhere, the first time we'd ever gone anywhere, so, yeah, there are lots of things I would do differently, but, yeah, I mean, I we learned some lessons, learned where not to leave money, yes,
Wow.
but
But I
also
mean,
learn
I'm
that people
also a
make
much better
mistakes and
a
be
much
calmer about it, so be
yeah,
more
but
forgiving.
right, I mean that. I'm a much better packer, for example, much better flower. I flow with the flow of unexpected things happening much better now than I did how many years ago? God, was that 30 years ago? Are we still remembering this terrible experience from 30 years ago?
Wow.
Well, I am you clearly weren't, but
Oh no, I do actually think about I I do think about that often as like a really bad travel experience whenever I'm thinking of a travel experience. I just don't think of it as you yelling at me at the airport. So this is interesting. You yelling at me at the airport is not at all what I remember from that experience. What I remember from that experience is what I did poorly during that trip. So I don't remember at all.
And that's a good thing. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
beautiful.
Well, if I had known that, I could have let that go a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
But
Well,
actually, I would not have because it was
well,
awful.
if you had brought it up and I said, "Girl, please," would you then have let it go?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to answer that. Maybe, but I think it would still bother me because I did it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let it go, I guess, because it's been a long time, and I need to. Oh, I need to let that go. But I still, it's still something that has bothered me,
So why
and I would
hadn't you
do
brought it
it.
up?
I don't know. I mean, hey, remember that time I yelled at you in front of everybody in the airport?
Yeah.
Hey, but wasn't that a hoot? I can't think of a reason to, or why, or how it would have come up. When I think of the trip, I remember like the fun aspects of it and the crazy aspects of it and the way we ate something and I thought it tasted like something that it should not have tasted like. I remember like walking everywhere. I remember like how we ate a lot of Subway. I remember how, the bottle of water was said it was bottled in East Orange. I remember all of that. I remember his name, this guy Alejandro, who wanted to teach us how to do snorkeling or whatever, and we were like, I don't know, that don't sound right. And also, we don't know how to swim. I remember all those things, but the part of it that still bothered me was
Yeah.
that aspect of it, and I'm not sure why. I mean,
But
it
you
wasn't my best
also
moment, so I don't know. I mean, I would not have brought it up, I guess. I only reason I bring it up now is because I would want to do it over again, so it didn't happen.
you would have been my amazing I mean, we could still do this. My amazing race partner, which
Mhm.
is like nothing but travel under pressure. So, if I would let you be my amazing race partner, you must know I'm willing to travel with you under pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Well, 'cause so here's the thing. I
Wait,
mean,
I think okay, so I'm saying we didn't bring it up, but I do feel like during that time when we used to be really heavy into Amazing Race, we probably did talk about it, and we said something about how I couldn't be yelling at you in public like that, or you brought it up how I had yelled at you. So maybe you got over it by now, obviously, but in those earlier days, maybe not so much. So I don't know. The whole reason I brought it up is not because it was never brought up or I wanted like forgiveness or whatever. It's because it's something I would redo or relive. So that's why.
I think we have different stress responses.
Yeah. I
Clearly.
I think I'm much better under pressure or stress now than I was then, obviously. But whatever.
But so I mean, I brought us into this by talking about Groundhog's Day in a movie and ha ha funny, you trapped in the same time loop over and over again. But I do like thinking about how we handle regret. Yeah, how we handle regret, how we move on from it, do we wallow in it, how it functions
Yeah.
in our lives. And we haven't heard hardly anything yet from you, Aunt Leslie, about regret. You don't have a day that you would happily be trapped in, but do you have things that you regret? And when you do, like how
We ain't got time.
wow, how able are you to move on from it, or do you get stuck in it?
I have had regrets that I am still stuck in. Oh boy. Yeah. Some are easier to get past than others, as with anything, you know. I'm a mom, first of all. So, just in raising children, and we make decisions that we think are best for that parenting relationship. And it's not always, and we make mistakes. And of course, we have regrets. It's funny because as you were talking, and talking about reliving a moment, I was thinking about something that pertained to my daughter in particular, and then you reframed this question. So it was when she involuntarily left home. That's how we're gonna phrase that. She involuntarily left home. She had some help from me, and it was just a really bad day. And she left with some help, and I regret that day because it changed our relationship moving forward. We're okay, but it definitely changed the relationship. And it was just spontaneous reaction to a moment that changed us forever, I think. And I feel like in the past 6 months, we're just getting back to being better. But I think it was very damaging. So if I had to relive a moment, that would be it. And I definitely would have made a different decision. And maybe she would have too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely think that she may have done things a little bit differently as well. But yeah. But I don't know that you can be a parent and not have regrets. Honestly, I don't know. If you're a parent and don't have regrets, kudos, seriously. But yeah. But how do you get past them? You know that you're human. We're human, and when you can go back to that child or whomever and recognize that you made a mistake and you can apologize, and hopefully you can both put it behind you and reconcile and move forward from it, that's a good thing.
Mhm.
And guess what? I've experienced both. Sometimes you can't reconcile and you can't move on from it. And you have to get to be okay with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I think if you are a grown person and don't have regrets, it probably means you're not being thoughtful enough about about yourself and your actions. And it's true. People say, "Oh, well, I don't know what people say." There's a phrase, and it just left my head. But I do think, there's some things that we do. It's not that you don't get past it, but there's some things that we do, mistakes that we make where things really will never be the same. It doesn't mean that they can't. It doesn't mean that you don't move past it, but it does mean it changes the
It
nature of our
changes that.
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine anyone going through life without having a regret or two.
Mhm.
And if you haven't yet, you will. It's just I can't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, does anybody have any, like, happy days or moments they'd like to redo or relive?
Do I have a perfect day that I would live in forever? Hmm.
That's a different question, but yes, do you?
Oh, no, how is it with different ask your
I
question again.
didn't say perfect day you live in forever. I said, do you have a happy day you'd like to redo?
Oh. I'm still thinking of my time loop. A happy day that I would like to redo, not over and over and over again, maybe just once in a while.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Because in the movie, he didn't live in that day forever. He eventually got out of it.
A happy day that I'd like to redo. Mm.
Or moment.
I mean, I have 3 children. You know what I mean? So their birth, and I know that we talked about the physical pain of it all,
Mhm.
but that moment when you hold your child for the first time, Tara's looking at me like, yeah, okay.
No, that's your moment. That's
Yeah.
fantastic for you. I
Yeah.
love that for
I
you.
love that for you.
Wow. Wow.
you know.
But yeah.
Um, Yeah, the birth of those children of mine.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Mhm.
How about you, Kim? What's your happy moment?
I don't have some
No.
grand, I am probably blanking. You know what? I don't know why I would have come up with a topic about memory because I swear sometimes I've been
You
hitting it.
struggling in that area, are you?
I really am. I really am. You know, other people in our family have memories that we all had the same experience, and I just do not remember. And so, so I can't, which is not to say, so here's the deal. I can't think of some big momentous thing. And when I say that, it makes it sound like these things weren't really important to me. It's not that moments in my life weren't important. I just don't really dwell in them.
Mhm.
So the thing that I would relive, right? Where I would go through, I just want to be like out in the sunshine, laying down with a book like that. I
I
could do
get
that
it.
every
That
day.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really I have had moments, but nothing jumps out at me that says, "Oh, I'd love to do that again." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for that day.
Well,
What about you, Taravel?
this is gonna sound weird. Okay, so as I said before, wouldn't be one of my happiest days. It'd be the ones that I mentioned that I get a redo. However, and I don't know if this actually fits, but okay, on Friday after our Bible study, we just stayed on the phone and on Zoom, like playing games. And to me, it was just such a fun day. I would love to do that again. Probably not. How long is it? We're on like 8 hours. Probably not for 8 hours again.
Oh,
But
wow.
that that was just like so much fun, and I'd love to do that again. So it was not really a Groundhog Day moment, but just to have that experience again, I would do
Mhm.
that. Yeah, that's it. But
Create memories.
yeah, yeah. But this got me thinking that a verse that I think fits this whole Groundhog Day theme is actually one that I say and I hear from other people almost daily. And that comes from Psalm 118, verse 24, which is, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." And so for me, what that means is that whether, you know, to me, every day is a gift. Every day is
Mhm.
a gift. And I think that whether we get one shot at a day or 100 do-overs, each day is a gift and we get to decide how we are going to live it. And we don't get to hit a rewind button in real life, but we can live each day as if it's worth celebrating.
Mhm.
It's worth m- making it eventful, making it memorable.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. I agree. I agree.
Live each day like it counts. Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it.
Oh, isn't that quote live each day like it's on purpose? Did somebody say that?
You
Probably.
just did.
At the end of the day, we may not get to relive our best moments or redo our worst ones, but we do get to decide how we live right now. Every day is a gift, and how we show up for it really is up to us. So instead of waiting for a perfect day to come around, what if we treat it this day like it's worth celebrating? What if we treat it every day like it is? What if we choose joy and we embraced opportunities and showed love and treated people like we had a second chance, even if we don't? You know what I mean? What if that was you just do it right? So here's a challenge.
Whew,
If
challenge.
yes, challenge. If today was on repeat, what would you do differently? Think about that and then go do it.
Awesome.
You don't even need a time loop. So,
You don't even need a time loop, and you do get 6 more weeks of winter, so enjoy.
Well, I'm in Florida, so
oh,
hey.
wait. She
Wow,
and then
and
the hair flipping
I'm
everything.
I'm in Florida, flip that hair.
Well, Florida got snow the other day, didn't they? Yes.
Not where I
Anyway,
am. Not where I am.
whatever. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Unfiltered Perspectives. If you enjoyed this episode, why not create your own Groundhog Day experience and listen to it again? Perhaps with a friend. Anyway, please make sure to rate, share, review, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our podcast.
Leave a comment, leave some feedback. Find us on Facebook and YouTube at Unfiltered Perspectives. Find us on Instagram at Unfiltered Perspectives IG. Find us now on Blue Sky at UP host Unfiltered Perspectives. UP host at Blue Sky. All the socials except the one.
And which one would that be?
We don't even want to say the name.
All righty. Thanks for joining us, you guys. It's been a pleasure. As always, we look forward to seeing you or joining. We look forward to you joining us again, same time next week. Thank you and bye-bye.